Welcome to Mbuya Parent School and Kindergarten, situated in Kampala City with modern, well-equipped facilities plus extensive playing fields and amenities. Mbuya Parent School believes that a better future lies where children know how to find and create balances in themselves and the world around them. This explains our fusion of academic subjects and co-curricular activities. There are many opportunities presented to them to flourish both in and outside the classroom.
I want to become a president when I grow up.
I want to be a pilot.
I will be the best fashion designer.
Mbuya Parent School, the sky is our limit.
Dear learners, I welcome you to this lesson, our first lesson in science in primary 7. My name is Onyai Robert, and I'm here to teach you science. In primary 4, we learned about body organs, and we learned about both internal and external body organs, whereby we looked at body organs like the heart, the lungs, and some external body organs like the skin, the ears, the nose, and others. Now, I would like you to know that different body organs working together to perform a particular function form what we call a system. And here we are talking basically about the human body, which consists of different body systems. You learned some of these body systems in the previous classes, like the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the digestive system, and already we have learned about the musculoskeletal system in primary 7. For today's lesson, we shall look at one of these systems, and that is what we call the excretory system. Dear learners, by the end of this lesson, I expect you to have achieved the following targets. 1, you should be able to know the meaning of the terms excretory system and excretion. Target number 2, you should be able to tell or to identify the organs in the body that make up the excretory system. 3, you should also be able to know the products that are referred to as excretory products in the human body. And lastly, you should be able to read, spell, and pronounce some of the words that we are going to use in this lesson correctly. Well, going by our targets, we need to straight away look at what the excretory system is. As the question is asked, what do you think the excretory system is? Dear learners, I believe you have developed some ideas in your minds. We can bring out the ideas together and we define what we call the excretory system. So what do we mean by the excretory system? In our context, we are saying the excretory system is the system in the body that collects and removes harmful wastes from the body. Or, better still, you can say it's a group of organs that work together to remove harmful wastes from the body. Still, we said we should be able to know what the term excretion means. Therefore, what does the term excretion mean? The term excretion simply refers to the process by which the harmful waste materials are removed from the body. This can also be referred to as the removal of harmful substances from the body. I repeat, the term excretion means the process by which harmful waste materials are removed from the body, or the removal of harmful substances from the body. Let's look at the importance of excretion to the body. Excretion is a very important process in the body in a way that, 1, it enables the body to get rid of the harmful waste products that are produced. These waste products, as we shall look at them later, are very harmful in a way that if left in the body for a long time, they can become poisonous or toxic and cause some effects to the body, including failure of some body organs and in some cases death. Secondly, excretion helps the body to maintain constant internal environment, which is free from dangerous substances. Now, these dangerous substances, which we have already looked at, can cause harm to the body as well. Now, what are these products that we are looking at as excretory products? So we want to look at the products that we refer to as excretory products in the body and the reasons why we call them the excretory products. One, we have what we call urea. Urea is a waste product that is removed from the body by one of the body organs that we shall later know. It's one of the products that we refer to as the excretory product. Secondly, we have what we call uric acid. Uric acid is also another excretory product that we need to know. Thirdly, we have what we call excess salts. When we eat salt in food, not all this salt is used in our body. Some of it is excreted or is removed from the body because too much of it may be harmful to the body. We also have what we call excess water, which comes out in different ways. This excess water is also not needed in the body. Then we have a gas known as carbon dioxide. This gas is also an excretory product. I believe you learned about air in P3, and you learned the components of air. And one of the components we looked at is the carbon dioxide. Then we have what we call lactic acid. So why do we refer to these products as excretory products? The body uses food that we eat in a process known as metabolism. When this food is used in the body cells get rid of some products that may not be needed in the body. And these are the products that we are referring to as excretory products. So in other words, the excretory products are called so because they are produced as a result of a body process known as metabolism. So in our list, we have urea, we have uric acid, we have excess salts, we have excess water, we have carbon dioxide, and lactic acid. But one may ask, why is it that we are not talking about feces as one of the excretory products? The reason is simple. This is because feces is not produced as a result of metabolism. So that's why, dear learners, I repeat, feces is not an excretory product because it's not produced as a result of metabolism. It is undigested food materials that leave the body through the natural body opening called the anus. Let's look at the organs that make up the excretory system. I earlier on told you that a group of body organs performing a particular function form what we call a system. Now, when we look at the excretory system, what are these organs that work together to get rid of these harmful waste products that we have already looked at? These organs include, one, we have the body organ displayed right there. Can you be able to identify the body organs illustrated there? Good. So these are the lungs. The lungs are one of the excretory organs, or the organs that make up the excretory system. So why do we refer to the lungs as the excretory organs? This is simply because the lungs are the ones responsible for the removal of two harmful waste products in our bodies, and that is carbon dioxide. Dear learners, note the spellings carefully. We have carbon dioxide and excess water in form of water vapor. Apart from the lungs, we have another organ that you can clearly see right here. Have you identified the body organ? Wonderful. Now, that is what we call the skin. So why do we group the skin under the excretory system? It is simply because the skin helps the body to get rid of sweat. There are so many components of sweat. These include lactic acid. We also have excess water. Sweat also contains excess salts. That's why, dear learners, in some cases when you happen to taste sweat, it may taste salty because the body gets rid of some of the harmful, some of the excess salts in our bodies through sweat. Another body organ right there is the one, what we refer to as the largest internal body organ. In P4, you must have learned about this body organ, and that is what we call the liver. So why is the liver grouped under that? The liver is grouped under the excretory organs simply because it excretes what we call bile pigment. And lastly, the fourth organ, which exists in pairs, what we call the kidneys. The kidneys help in the excretion of urine. Urine contains different substances. For example, urea, uric acid, excess salts, and excess water. So the kidneys are grouped under excretory organs because they contain what we call, they excrete urine. Now, having known the organs that make up the excretory system, we shall get time and look at each of these organs one by one in details. For the time being, let's go briefly and talk about the skin. When you look at the skin, it's the largest organ that is found in our bodies. This is because it covers most of the body organs, right from our feet up to the head. And the skin, as you learned earlier on, is also a sense organ for feeling. I think you have these ideas. You learned them in the lower classes. That's very good. The skin also helps in the removal of sweat, and that's the main reason why we refer to it as the excretory organ. Now, to know more about the skin, let's go further and look at what we call the layers of the skin. When we talk about the skin, it is not just what we see on the surface of our bodies. The skin is much bigger, or it has a thicker layer than what we see on the surface. For purpose of knowing, we have two main layers making up the skin. And what are these two main layers? One, we have what we call the epidermis, as highlighted there, and in different colors. I believe, dear learners, you should be able to look at that carefully. And secondly, we have another layer which is found in the inner part of the skin, and that one is referred to as the dermis. So, having known the two, please note their spellings carefully. Dear learners, can we spell the word epidermis? Good. So the word epidermis is spelled as E-P-I-D-E-R-M-I-S, epidermis. Whereas when you come to the dermis, you simply remove the first three letters and remain with the word epidermis. Dermis. Having identified the two main layers of the skin, I would like us to talk about one of the two major layers of the skin, and that is what we call the epidermis. So the epidermis is the outermost layer of the skin. I repeat, the epidermis is the outermost layer of the skin. So what are these layers that make up the epidermis? The epidermis is made up of three other parts that include, we have the three layers of the epidermis. We have the outermost layer of the epidermis, known as the conified layer. Please note the spelling of the word conified carefully. Apart from that, below the conified layer, we have what we call the granular layer that is found immediately after the conified layer. Lastly, the third layer that makes up the epidermis is known as the Malpighian layer. So note these spellings carefully, especially the word Malpighian. Dear learners, have time to practice these spellings carefully so that you note them very well. Now, let's look at the layers. How are they important? The first of the epidermis, which is the conified layer, is a very important layer, and is the outermost layer that you can easily touch on the surface of your skin. This layer is made up of dead cells. It is made up of dead cells. And these dead cells are modified in a way that they are tough and help us mostly in terms of protection. How do they protect our bodies? One, the conified layer prevents germs from entering our body through the skin, especially germs like bacteria and also coronavirus. That's why the Ministry of Health or the health workers are always emphasizing we should not touch the soft parts of our body, but rather wash our hands regularly with soap before touching certain parts of the body. So, the conified layer is a very good layer that protects us from bacterial invasion. Even if you touch dirty surfaces or dirty objects like soil or any other dirty surface, mention it, the germs won't be able to enter your body through the skin because of the presence of the conified layer. This layer is also tough in a way that it helps the body to develop some resistance to damage. So damage in terms of injuries can be caused when the conified layer is destroyed. But this is not easily done because the conified layer is a very tough layer which helps us to protect our bodies against damage. This layer also helps the body to prevent evaporation of water unless you have got a third-degree burn. Your body will be safe from losing excess water through evaporation. So in other words, we are saying the conified layer 1 prevents bacterial invasion into the body. It also provides resistance to the damage, and also it reduces excessive loss of water by evaporation. Having looked at the first layer of the conified, of the epidermis, we go to the second one. This is known as the granular layer. The granular layer is what makes the conified layer after the cells under it die. So under the granular layer, we have living cells that continuously die and later form what we call the new conified layer. And what about the last layer of the epidermis? That is the Malpighian layer. The Malpighian layer contains young living cells. And these young living cells later form the new epidermis. So the granular layer develops from the Malpighian layer and also makes the new conified layer after the cells have died. Not only that, the Malpighian layer seems to be one of the most important layers of the epidermis. Why? It contains a very useful substance, a very useful pigment in the body known as melanin. So melanin is a very important substance in the body. Why? One, it enables the body to determine the skin color and also helps us to determine the color of our hair. In this case, in any case where one lacks melanin, there will be a problem because they will lack the proper skin color and also the color of the hair. Melanin also protects the skin from strong radiation from the sun. whereby the radiation coming from the sun can be very harmful in a way that it can lead to skin cancer. So because of the presence of melanin, we are able to protect ourselves from skin cancer. Then if one lacks melanin, that person will be having a condition known as albinism. And in this case, we shall call that person an albino. So, going by our illustrations below, the pictures that you see at the background, we are able to identify who may be an albino and who is not. Dear learners, albinism is a condition that is genetic. It can be passed on from parents to their young ones in genes. However, if you have such people in your community, please don't segregate against them. They are normal human beings. Please interact with them freely, because this is a condition that cannot be transmitted unless it goes through the genes. We also say that melanin helps in protecting us from the ultraviolet rays of the sun, the strong rays of the sun that would otherwise cause what we call skin cancer. So how does this happen? In our picture here, you realize that someone is receiving sunlight from the source, and when the rays from the sun hit the skin, they don't enter the way they came. So in the process, the rays are filtered through as they enter. The rays are filtered as they enter into the body, such that we don't suffer the effects of the ultraviolet rays of the sun that would otherwise cause skin cancer. And this is a common scenario in the albinos because they lack the substance known as melanin. So in other words, they are very prone to what we call skin cancer. Dear learners, we have a lot to share in this topic. In other lessons, we shall look at the other body organs and different other information about the skin. But for this time, I would like to leave you with an activity that you will do and submit later. We shall give you the feedback. Here is our activity for today. I leave you with a message that stay safe, follow all the guidelines from the Ministry of Health, and please stay home, but better still, learn to pray every day and learn to do your work while at home. Thank you, dear learners. Meet you next time.